Hello, everybody. Welcome to the lunch table. My name's Evan. Today, I'm joined with Nick, Joel, and Zach, the usual crew. And today, we're going to be catching you guys up on some NFL stuff, talking about the playoffs. We're heading into the championship Sunday. Talking about that, talking about all the recent coaching signings, and a little bit else. But before we begin, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at lunchtable.takes and to subscribe if you enjoy. And we'll go straight into we'll start off with the coaches because there was, I think, 3 coaches were hired in the past 48 hours. So we're going to give the rundown for that and give our opinions on it. First off, the biggest name coming off the board, Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan to go to the LA Chargers. The Chargers, they were favorites for him for a while. It was looking pretty likely that he was going to go there. It was just a matter of time. And they finally agreed to a decision yesterday. And now Jim Harbaugh is the head coach of the LA Chargers. What do you guys think of that hiring for them?
I think this is the best hiring that's happened, to be honest. I mean, as much as it might pain all of us to say, I think Jim Harbaugh is objectively a very good coach. He's had success literally everywhere he's been since he's been a head coach. He had success at San Diego State, or I think it was San Diego. He had success at San Diego, and then he had success at the 49ers and Michigan, obviously. And then there was another place that he was. I can't remember where else it was, but
it's
Stanford, that's what it was, Stanford. Yeah. He's had success legitimately everywhere he's went. And I read an article today, and it said something like he, within his first year of being at most of these programs, he's either had a winning record or they've been significantly better than the very year previous before he was there. So this is an extremely good hiring. And also, I like how some analyst said, and I really liked it, how in the AFC, you're not going to be relevant unless you have a superstar quarterback. The Chargers have that, but the coach brought them down. So now their superstar quarterback has a superstar coach, and he's going to be able to unlock that a little bit more. So I think everybody already knows that Justin Herbert's talent is in the discussion with Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen. But he just hasn't been able to get there yet, and I think he's going to with Jim Harbaugh. So I think this was a very good hiring. Now they got to find the GM.
You brought up that point of how the season before, I was going to bring up the exact same point.
Yeah. Harbaugh, it is like immediate. The dude has immediate success everywhere he goes. Like I think the Chargers are going to have, they'll probably make the playoffs next year.
An early take from Zach. There you go.
I don't think they're going to win the division or anything, but I do think that not this year, but I think for the foreseeable future, as long as Jim Harbaugh is the head coach of the Chargers, I think that the Chiefs are not going to have a cakewalk to win that division. I think the Chargers very well could sneak in a couple of division titles.
I'm going to piggyback off you for a second. He's done everything coaching-wise except win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and I feel the Chargers.
He's already played in one though.
Yeah, but he hasn't won it. He hasn't won one. And I feel of the teams that are available right now, the Chargers give him the best chance.
Yeah, the only thing is though is that the Chargers, like the way the roster is constructed, this is a very much win now team, which is okay. But it's just going to be interesting. That's why I said they got to get the GM now. The GM is like the third piece. They got the quarterback, now they got the coach, and now they got to find the GM. Because I think that they have a good roster, but they are like their cap space is. I think it was like they're set to be 27 million over the cap limit, so their cap is bad. So they're gonna be in a lot of trouble within the next couple of years here. So that's what they got to get the GM for. But honestly, if they have Herbert and Harbaugh, they're in a good position either way.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of the last part that Zach said, the Chargers are in a very, very bad cap situation. They are projected to be over $45 million over the cap this offseason. So if the Chargers are going to be relevant in the immediate 1 to 2 year future, they're going to have to nail every single early draft pick that they have.
Which they already have a top 5 pick. So
they do have a top 5 pick, but they're going to have to nail all the picks at positions of need if they're going to be relevant within the next probably 2-3 years. But long term, within back half of this decade, the Chargers, as long as they have Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh, could be really, really good, especially offensively. And it just comes down to if their GM and their defensive coordinator can step in and provide the results needed to be a true Super Bowl contender. Because it seems like something's always missing with that team.
That's true. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But either way, this was a great hire to kick off.
It was a fantastic.
I mean,
hire.
I know, you said, to be relevant in the next couple of years. I think they've got the roster right now to be relevant.
Yeah, they're gonna have
Especially
to cut
with
a
Jim
few
Harbaugh.
guys though. They're probably gonna have to cut Eric Kendricks and Khalil Mack, maybe a couple other guys to just get below the cap limit.
Yeah, I mean, even with that though, I mean, they'll still have. I mean, you run Herbert, Eckler, Allen, Josh Palmer.
The other
Mike
issue
Williams.
is Mike
and
Williams. But
Yeah,
you just
I
have a
think
bunch
he'll
of
stay
guys.
healthy.
You have a bunch of aging guys on the team, though.
Yeah.
That's another.
Well,
Offense.
that's my issue with them, that. But that's why I said, in a couple years, I think it's going to bite them in the butt unless they hit on their draft picks, obviously. Which, I mean, let's assume they do. But I feel like offensively they're still in a good spot, even if they have to get rid of some of these guys. I mean, defensively, I don't know who. I mean, Joey Bosa, they got
Derwin
James.
That's it, Derwin James.
Khalil
And then who's the
Mack.
other one they got though? They got another DB, right?
J.C. Jackson was terrible when he's with
No,
Asante-
they had someone else though. I thought,
Dante
didn't they?
Samuel.
Yeah.
Asante
Asante
Samuel.
Samuel, yeah. They've got guys that they can win games with, even if they have to get rid of Khalil Mack. Which I'm gonna be honest with you, I know this doesn't mean anything, but when we did our Madden franchise, the first thing I did was cut Khalil Mack because he was just an egregious amount of money.
Yeah.
He's also coming off one of the best seasons he's had in a while, though, too.
Yeah.
I know, so it's hard to justify cutting him, but if you look at it, dude's 34 years old.
It
and
has
he's
to be
costing
done.
them an absurd amount of money.
Yeah, it has to be done.
Yeah. Yeah. To go back to an earlier point, they did meet with the Giants assistant general manager yesterday or on Wednesday, sorry, for the second time. And apparently he has good relationships with John Harbaugh. So I don't know if he's going to go there or not, but they are looking into that because I'm pretty sure who the Raiders took their general manager, but they had fired him, I think, before. But yeah, to piggyback off of kind of everything you guys have harped on, I think this is a great hire for the Chargers. I think Harbaugh fits in perfectly with what this team is. Harbaugh was an ex-quarterback, so he knows how to produce quarterbacks, and I think he's going to help Justin Herbert a lot. I think he's going to progress his development a lot, and I think that's going to be really good for Justin Herbert because, like you said, Zach, he's a great talent, top talent in the NFL, but he just hasn't gotten over that hump playoff-wise. And then you all mentioned that you have their whole situation with the cap room, aging stars, all that stuff. So I think coming into this year, I think if you're a Chargers fan, I think you expect him to make the playoffs. I think it's a playoff caliber roster. We've seen that, and we can all agree that coaching was the reason that they were held back. And now you have a coach who, like you all have said, has won everywhere that he's gone. And he's completely flipped programs around. I think every place he's been at was they had a losing win percentage, and by the time he left, they were significantly on the other side of that. So I think he's going to do that again. I think he's a phenomenal coach, and I think he's going to bring a better culture to that Chargers team. But to go kind of on the roster side of it, like you guys were talking about, I think the best case scenario for the Chargers is to rebuild how the Rams did. which is easier said than done. But you look at a team, obviously the Rams won a Super Bowl, but they're kind of around the same spot where they have a lot of really good players on big contracts, but they're aging. And so, I mean, they had to trade guys like Jalen Ramsey, and they had to cut a couple other guys that were pretty big pieces. Yeah, they had to cut guys like those people who were like big pieces to the Super Bowl win, but there was nothing else they could really do. So I think we might see that. I think we might see Joey Bosa get traded. I think Derwin James could get traded. Keenan Allen. Like I think realistically, one of those three players will probably get traded here in the next year or two. Because you have, I think, Palmer and Mike Williams are both free agents next year.
And Keenan.
Yeah, the whole wide receiver room is so.
Yeah, they're gonna have to definitely hit on the draft picks for sure. But
yeah, they didn't start good.
The Rams, that's what they did. They hit on all their. Well, see, the Rams had it worse because the Rams didn't have any early picks. They had to hit on the late ones, which they did. So the Chargers, the Chargers really shouldn't be in that. I mean. Just don't be morons with your top 5 picks. You know what I'm saying? Like a top 5 pick, it's like
you have a lot of options.
Yeah, you got plenty of options there. But I'll piggyback on 2 things you said though. Everywhere he went was bad before he got there. Like the 49ers were on an 8-season streak of missing the playoffs, I'm pretty sure, before he got there. And then he immediately went to the playoffs. Obviously, Michigan was one of the – Michigan was terrible until he got there for a stretch of like 15 years. They were just bad. Ohio State had beaten them for what? How many straight years until he got there?
9.
Yeah.
No. He was there for the back half of that win streak. He got there in 2016.
Harbaugh?
Yeah. He's 3.
Yeah, I know. But overall, like I don't know. But either way, Michigan was terrible until he got there pretty much. So like he'll get him turned around, I would say, pretty quickly. And the other thing, quarterback wise, he unlocked he worked really well with Andrew Luck at Stanford. And then the other guy Colin Kaepernick with the Niners. But then you've also got in very recent history, who I think is not even good, but he got him to a solid playing level, was J.J. McCarthy. So, I think this is an awesome hire for the Chargers. Like, I've been saying this since the offseason started for college football. As soon as the championship was over, I was saying, he could go to the Chargers, I just think this is a great hire. And he's going to bring back, he's going to bring them a brand of, like real football, like a culture and a brand of like tough, hard-nosed football. He brings that everywhere he goes. So I'm honestly excited to see him with the Chargers. But it's tough because now there's another AFC team that might have to worry about, but it's a good hire.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. They got Justin Herbert, so they're going to be at least in the conversation for years to come.
And as you know from my my Twitter account, I am quite enthusiastic about the Los Angeles Chargers for some unknown reason.
That's true.
This is valid.
All right. Moving on to some more coaches, but less known ones. This one broke earlier today. It was Rams defensive coordinator Raheem Morris, the Falcons. A bit of a shocker there because a lot of people thought that Bill Belichick was going to go there because he had 2 interviews there. Harbaugh had 2 interviews there. I'm pretty sure Vrabel also had 2 interviews there. So they did their due diligence for sure, and they decided that Morris was their guy. Morris, he coached for them for, I think, 3 years. He was on their staff. He was an intern when they got rid of Dan Quinn. Then he went to the Rams. He's been there for a couple years. And now he's back in Atlanta.
Yeah, I thought this one kind of blindsided me a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really have much to say about this one. I don't know much about this guy.
This one's my favorite.
I talked about Harbaugh and the Chargers a lot, so I'll let you guys cover this one. But
This
I
one's
was shocked a little bit.
This one's my favorite.
Have at it.
If you look at, so to piggyback off where you were talking about with coaching, he was a part of that grouping of coaches in Washington.
Oh, with McVay and
With
McDaniel
McVay, McDaniels,
and
LaFleur, all of
Interesting.
them. He was a part of that.
Hmm.
And the other one that was a part of it is the Texans OC.
Interesting.
So there's potential that all 6 of those coaches that were on that grouping.
He was a part of that Redskins staff that didn't really that's crazy.
I mean, he's been able to develop, and Zach, you were talking about with the Rams when we got on that topic of developing young talent.
Mm-hmm.
Look what he did with the young, especially the DBs, the young DBs that they brought in.
Yeah.
On that defense. Nobody expected the Rams to do anything this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense at times, it was iffy, but it was capable of competing.
They were very capable of winning the divisional round.
It was a tough defense
to
play against. I think obviously it's an upgrade over Arthur Smith.
Gosh, can't get any worse.
Obviously it's an upgrade over Arthur Smith, but this honestly, Jim Harbaugh was an amazing signing. We're not going to get over that, but I think this signing is one that is well-deserved personally, and I think it's a great signing for the Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, you genuinely can't get worse than Arthur Smith, so anybody's better.
Yeah, this caught me by surprise a little bit. I think Raheem Morris is head coaching quality. Not saying that he doesn't deserve a head coaching job because he's been pretty well as a coordinator wherever he's been. It's confusing as to why you're hiring a defensive mind for a team with the offensive talent that the Falcons have. Like, you've got Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, etc., and probably a new quarterback, whether it be through the trade market or in the draft, and you're hiring a guy that's very defensive oriented. But everywhere he's been, he's had the full support of the locker room. So
I think
you need a locker room guy for one.
I think partially, when you're looking to hire coaches at the NFL level, I think it's a little less scheme and more, can you run this team? Can you run this group of guys, and can you be that locker room presence and
I guess because your offensive coordinator does more of the.
I mean, DeMeco Ryans was a defensive guy, and he came into a team that had Stroud and Collins and a lot of offensive talent as well. So I just think I think personally, in my opinion, at the NFL level and even a little bit at the college level, I think as a head coach, it's a little less about schematics and more about actually running the team. So I don't hate it that he was a defensive guy, you know what I'm saying?
But you guys talked about also how they brought in Belichick and they brought in Vrabel. We said prior to us getting started, Belichick people don't really think is capable of running an offense anymore.
I think he's capable. I think he's not. I don't think he does well with acquiring offensive talent.
I would.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
I don't know. I don't know if it's he can't run the offense. I don't know because I'm assuming he doesn't call the plays. So
what do you think about just the factor of age?
I think part of the thing with Bill Belichick is I think that his coaching style is just so much different than how people are these days.
It's old school more than
it is. Which I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Old school is a lot of times better than new school.
I agree. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, a lot of people just don't function that way anymore.
In today's day and age, you got to be a man manager too if you're a head coach.
I just don't know if it would. I think that's part of the issue why he's not employed, because I just don't know if people like his coaching style anymore. Which, like I said, better or worse, personally, I like old school coaching to a point, parts of it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
go ahead. All right. Well, I think that Mike Vrabel would have been a slam dunk hire for Atlanta. Like if I was Atlanta, that's the guy I would have gone after. Because I think he has the full respect of the locker room like Raheem Morris, but also he has a history of a ground and pound style of football that the Falcons were trying to build their team around. And especially now that they have Bijan Robinson, I think that would have been a match made in heaven. But we'll see what Raheem Morris does. I'm interested to see what he does here.
Yeah, I think Vrabel would have been good.
See,
But going
he's
back
the one
to
that I'm like most like. I can't believe he's not employed. I don't even know why they fired him.
I don't know. He'll get a job somewhere.
Yeah, he will. Even if that means in college.
I mean, well, you guys know my thoughts. I wouldn't mind that.
Yes,
but he's like, we're running out of jobs here in the NFL.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I like Raheem Morris. I honestly didn't know much about him, but once he got hired, did some more research. Like Joel says, from the McVay Shanahan tree. He's had some coaching experience as a head coach. He wasn't great, but from what I've heard from everybody, he's a lot more mature now. He has grown a lot under McVay and has kind of seen how McVay runs stuff. And obviously, McVay's had a lot of success in the NFL level, and he's kind of taken that into his own. So I think he's going to be good for the Falcons. And like you all said, he's a great locker room guy, which I think they didn't have in Arthur Smith. And so I think that'll be good. I'm interested to see kind of what the dynamic is with if he's actually going to utilize all of their offensive talent. We'll see. But I think overall solid. I like it. But we'll see how it goes. But I thought for sure Belichick was going to go there after that second meeting. It seemed like he really wanted to be there, but there's a lot of factors that go into that, and yeah. So we'll see if there's a world where Vrabel and Belichick don't get a job this year and they wait till next year, which could happen, but we'll see. Yeah, I think it should be a good hire. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I just don't know as much about him as I do like Harbaugh and some of these other guys.
Yeah.
Another coordinator becoming head coach. Bucks, was it DC?
Offensive coordinator.
Bucks OC. That's right. Dave, how do you say his name? Canales.
Yeah.
He's going to the Panthers. I personally had never heard of him, but again, doing research before this, he is accredited to a lot of quarterback success. He coached guys obviously like Baker this year. Baker had a great season. He was on the staff of the Seahawks last year when Geno Smith broke out. He was a big part in Russ's development when he was in Seattle. So he's really good at developing quarterbacks. And obviously the Panthers have a guy in Bryce Young who was the number one overall pick just a year ago and who was, needless to say, disappointing this year. And so I think getting a guy who is quarterback oriented, who has had success with different types of quarterbacks, like Russ is more of a Bryce Young style quarterback, and you have Baker and Geno who are more pocket passers, and he's had a lot of success with different types of quarterbacks. So I think he's going to bring a new era and a new culture to that team. I've heard a lot of great things about him as a person, as a coach. People seem to like him a lot. But the only thing that really hampers the 49ers, or not the 49ers, is the Panthers, is Tepper. Like, he's the biggest thing that holds them back. So you can only do so much with what you have, and we'll see if the owner actually gets his head out of his butt, or if he's going to do anything. But I think it's a solid hire.
Yeah, I think the Panthers needed Dave Canales more than anything, considering his history with quarterbacks. And I mean, you just traded the farm to get who's supposed to be your franchise guy, and He was awful last year.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term, he was. He was really bad. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand he was the first overall pick, and he didn't have much support around him. But never once, when I was watching Bryce Young last year, did I think he could be a star at the NFL level. Yeah. And I think that they need a guy like Dave Canales, who has a reputation as a bit of a QB whisperer, to come in and develop Bryce Young a lot more. The most impressive thing to me was how he got Baker Mayfield to revive his career this year. Like this, I think we'll talk about Tampa Bay a little bit later, but none of us pegged the Bucs to do anything this year.
Yeah.
Because of their quarterback situation. We were like, Baker Mayfield played terrible in Carolina and the Rams, and they've got Kyle Trask as a backup. They're not going to do anything. I think they were the one team none of us picked to win the division. I think we all had a team winning the division apart from Tampa Bay in the NFC South in our preseason predictions, and they're the one that ended up winning the division. And
you were a pick away from going to the NFC Championship.
Potentially. That is credited to Dave Canales and the play of Baker Mayfield more so than anything. So I'm really interested to see if he can work his same magic in Carolina. But like you said, Evan, their owner's a bit of a nutcase. So we'll see how effective he truly is when the owner has his hand in every operation.
Yeah, I said this was another guy I didn't really know much about, but obviously he knows what he's doing with quarterbacks. But the one thing that I will say about this is I said multiple times over the course of the last couple of months that this is the worst job in the market. This is the one that I would just not want at all. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this goes.
First, he's the only active Hispanic coach too. So I agree with Nick though. I think, and you, Evan, I agree with both of you. If he can revive a Geno Smith career and a Baker Mayfield career, I feel he can do that with a young Bryce Young.
Yeah, for sure. For Panthers fans, they hope that he can.
They better hope he can. Think of their mental state.
Yeah,
he better be able to revive.
It's not looking good right now.
I mean, tickets were selling for what, 45
cents? No, 45. 45.
Yeah,
just crazy.
That's awful.
All right, last coach we're going to talk about, Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan was signed as the head coach of the Titans. Obviously, three of us are very familiar with Callahan as us being Bengals fans. So, Bengals fans, what were your thoughts on him? How you think he's going to do in Tennessee?
I don't really mind losing him, to be honest.
I thought the writing was on the wall.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, from the Bengals standpoint, just promoting Dan Pitcher, from what I've been seeing, he's a great coach, and I think they're honestly going to probably do better offensively.
Seems like him and Burrow have a good connection too.
Yeah. So I from a Bengals perspective, I think we are in a better spot. But I do think Brian Callahan is a good guy, and I think he did a pretty good job. I think he'll do a solid job with the Titans. I watched part of his press conference with the Titans, and it seems like he had a pretty like heartfelt like message for him, and he really appreciated his time in Cincinnati. So it's, it is what it is. It's one of those things where I wish him all the best. Like, I'm not torn up that he's gone, but I hope he does great.
I feel the writing on the wall was there, that Callahan was on the way out after the performance that Jake Browning had.
That too.
After taking over.
Absolutely.
Well, I think a lot of that goes on. Well, I mean, not a lot, but a part of that, him performing so well, goes on Dan Pitcher too.
Well, yeah, I agree, and that's
both of them.
I think it exactly. I think it benefits both of them.
Parties, honestly.
It shows that. Split. Yeah, it shows that both of them made a huge impact.
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, the one that I think is the snub is Lou Anarumo, and I'm happy
He's the
gonna
one
be
that I
back.
would have been torn up if he left. I wouldn't have been happy.
Exactly. Well, and he's not even on radars right this year
Good.
Because the defense wasn't as good.
because the defense
was
wasn't
not
as good.
nearly as good as it was.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because they had a young secondary. I've been through this multiple times. I think Lou Anarumo did not all of a sudden become a moron this one season.
I agree.
Like, he's still a great coach. Like if he'd have been the one that left, that I would have been upset if he was the one that left.
Don't get me wrong. I like Callahan. I think Callahan did a fantastic job. But
Yeah.
like I said, the writing was on the wall after Jake Browning almost got him into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it was more of a clean split between Callahan and the Bengals. I think both parties are okay with it. Both parties will benefit. Well, benefit.
I'm interested to see how he changes that offense too.
Yeah.
Because are you going to stick with your gunslinger? Are you going to stick with Will Levis for one? Derrick Henry's already on the way out. You know that.
Yeah, but they got Tajay Spears.
I like Tajay Spears. I think Tajay Spears is going to be pretty solid in a Callahan offense.
They also have no receivers.
You just got to hope and pray that Treylon Burks
comes back.
And D-Hop comes back. Treylon Burks develops.
Yeah. I personally don't like that receiving room, and I'm not totally sold on Will Levis yet. But I think this is a solid.
A lot of question marks.
There are a lot of question marks, but that's what you're going to have.
Higher though.
The coach is the first piece.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I knew he was going to leave, so I think it was a solid hire.
Yeah, I think Callahan fits the timeline of this team better than like a Vrabel would, because Vrabel is, like we've all said, he's a phenomenal coach, and he's like a playoff caliber coach. But
absolutely,
the way that the Titans roster is built right now, they're not a playoff roster at all.
No, not
and
at all.
So Callahan, who's a younger guy, and this will be his first opportunity as a head coach. He can kind of grow and develop with the team. Like Joel mentioned, we'll see how he does. We'll see how he does with Levis. We'll see what if he can use Levis creatively. And obviously still Malik Willis, but he's not very good. So there's a lot of question marks, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, in Tennessee. But I think getting the coach is the first step in that. I think Brian Callahan, like you both said, he did great for the Bengals. He's contributed to a lot of the Bengals' offensive success these past couple of years, and I think I'm interested to see how he incorporates that in Tennessee. And I, like Zach said, I wish him the best, and I hope he does well.
Yeah, I agree. Well said.
Nick, you obviously aren't a Bengals fan, but as a just NFL fan, what are your thoughts on
Titans are in our division, so
that's true.
It
does involve you.
Me personally, I'm not that concerned with Tennessee over the next few years with Brian Callahan. I truthfully don't know how good he is as an offensive coordinator, because I understand the Bengals have had extreme offensive success, but look at the talent they've had on that offense. Like top 5 quarterback in Joe Burrow, arguably the best receiving room in the league, top 10 running back in Joe Mixon.
There's no argument. That is the best receiving room in the league.
Well, not that discussion. But one of the best receiving rooms in the league, top 10 running back probably in Joe Mixon, an offensive line that's gotten better every year. I don't know how good he is as an offensive coordinator. I think that a lot of the quarterback success is due to, I'm blanking on his name right now, the guy that just got hurt. Yeah, Dan Pinter. I think that has a lot to do with the success of Jake Browning and especially Joe Burrow, more so than the coordinator of Brian Callahan. Because when Jake Browning comes in, it's not like he was lighting the world on fire. Like, he was playing an average. He's average at quarterback when he played.
Jake Browning when he came in?
Yeah, I'd say he was an average quarterback.
I mean, he had a stretch where he was throwing for 300 yards.
Yeah, and then he played Pittsburgh twice and did nothing. He had ultimate stat padding. So I don't know how good Brian Callahan is as a head coach. He doesn't have nearly the same talent offensively that he had in Cincinnati. In a couple of years, it might be different. You know, the NFL can change like that. Everything changes on a dime, but I'm not that concerned with Brian Callahan becoming the Titans head coach. That might come back to bite me. I'm going to knock on wood when I say that, but
I feel
I'm not scared.
I feel the big change for Tennessee, and we've talked about this before, Zach, me and you, was when they traded A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
That was the end of this era of Titans football.
Exactly.
Being like true competitors.
Exactly. So, I mean, and when you lose a superior number one like that, and you expect a Treylon Burks to come in and fill that number one spot, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, he just didn't do that.
Yeah. So,
but I think that is a good
I think that's a good
thought, Nick. Yeah, because like you said, I mean, Callahan's kind of had hasn't really had to prove himself as much as other offensive coordinators would, because he's been given a lot of good talent. So it'll be really interesting to see how he does with lesser talent. But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about the Titans for the next couple of years, because they still have a lot of problems.
Quite a few question marks with that team still.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk some playoffs. Instead of going through every divisional game, I'm just going to bring up some key points from the divisional game, because that was obviously a couple weeks ago, right, last week. But first question I have for you guys. Obviously, the Bills played the Chiefs for the, fourth time in the playoffs? Third time?
Third.
And it was a great game, but the Bills fell short. And obviously, again, Josh Allen played a really good game. And the normal narrative of Chiefs Bills basically happened again. But my question to you guys is, it's a two-parter. Is the Bills window closed? And what do they need to do to get over that hump of making it to a Super Bowl?
I'm going to state this point real quick. They were pretty injury-ridden, to say the least. I'm not going to make a lot of excuses here. I'm not going to blame refs or anything like that, because Tyler Bass missed a kick to tie the game.
The refs were good. The refs were very
amazing.
good.
The refs were amazing in this game. That's why I'm saying I'm not going to be that guy and blame the refs. Give them an actual punter that's not injured, and I feel this is a different game. Their punter was hurt, and you could see how, oh God, it was awful. They couldn't flip the field at all. I mean, Josh Allen played, as you said, played a great game. I feel they should have won this game.
There's no feel.
Absolutely.
They should have won this game.
Yeah, they should have.
That's gonna be my main point. Continue, Joel. But
They should have won that game. I agree. I think the window's closed? I don't think it's closed, because you still have Josh Allen. And we saw as the season progressed, I feel a little bit of Josh Allen progressing himself, getting a little better. And I feel if he can keep making those steps, they're going to be a team that competes every year. Now, do I think defensively they're going to have to fill a lot of holes? Yeah, because they're aging pretty well. But on the offensive side of the ball, I think they're set. They need a little bit of help offensive line wise, but you still have Diggs, you have Kincaid, you have James Cook. You bring in a second receiver and you should be set there. I feel the big need that they got to address some defensively. I don't think the window's closed.
I don't think the window's closed either. That was a pretty quick and easy answer for me. Absolutely not. But I do think one of the major issues, I think it's a little bit bigger of an issue than you kind of inferred. They got to get another receiver in there. Like, I think that, I almost think it would be worth them spending their first round pick on a receiver this year. It depends how the board falls, but they have got to get another receiver in there. Diggs, I don't know what happened to Diggs this year, but even if Diggs is himself, they got to have someone else. Gabe Davis plays good twice a year, you know? like they've got to get another receiver in
I
there.
feel the big thing with Gabe Davis is he's more he gets the job done blocking more than he does receiving.
Yeah, but they need another threat out there. Like it's
And that-
literally. I mean,
Like, don't get me wrong, Khalil Shakir showed up this year.
Oh, he showed up in the playoffs big time. He made a lot of big plays, but they've got to have someone else too. Like they've got to have like another pretty clear cut guy out there.
And I feel like Kincaid, as the season progressed, became that number 2. That's why I brought up Kincaid, because I feel Kincaid.
Yeah, Kincaid's a great player, but you got to get a receiver. They got to get another receiver.
But think about it like the Chiefs, Zach. You had Kelsey.
Their receiving room single-handedly brought them down this whole year. I don't even know.
I'm talking in past years. I'm talking in past years, Zach. You had Kelsey, but after Tyreek Hill left, you had Kelsey and Juju. What about Diggs and Kincaid?
I just think they got to get another guy. I think that's kind of been. I mean, Patrick Mahomes was able to get it done with those guys, and also Travis Kelce's the best tight end of all time. So, like,
I'm just saying, Diggs is an elite 1.
I don't know if he showed that he was down recently here, though. He did not play like his normal elite self. I think they got to get another receiver in there. I don't think. I think.
Don't get me wrong. I think they need another guy to take a little pressure off of him. But I feel Kincaid definitely took steps.
Like I just feel as though they've got to quit rolling with Diggs and Davis. Like they, I just think they got to get someone else.
Isn't Gabe Davis a free agent this year?
He's a free agent this year, and I think they need.
So there's that too. I definitely think they need to bring in someone else, but the window's definitely not closed. It is concerning though, with how well they played down the stretch and how hot they were. The fact that they still could not beat the Chiefs, and the Chiefs had no business winning this game. This is the worst Chiefs team we've seen since Patrick Mahomes has started. Best defense he's had, but this Chiefs team does not they had no business winning that game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, that's it. That's the only reason they won this game. I mean, defense, yeah, but
defense.
The Bills should have won this
Zach,
game.
Your statement is false because Jason Kelsey was there.
You're right. Jason Kelsey was there. But no, the Bills absolutely should have won this game. I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah, this was kind of a shocker. I mean, I will say, though, that the Chiefs, as soon as the playoffs started, have been playing like the Chiefs that we all know. But over the whole season this year, they were not. I was not impressed with the Chiefs one time this year. But yet, Patrick Mahomes is still in the AFC Championship like he is every year, legitimately every year. Whatever.
I'm gonna go. To answer the question, is the Buffalo's window shut? If you're talking about the next decade, no, because they do still have Josh Allen. If you're talking about the next 3 to 4 years, absolutely. It absolutely is. Because if you're not going to beat your boogeyman now, then when are you going to beat them? This is when they're down. This year, they had absolutely no business losing this game when they had more total yards, more rushing yards, more first downs, were better on third down, better on fourth down, ran 30 more plays. 30 more plays than Kansas City did. Josh Allen does not turn the ball over. They won the turnover battle. They significantly outpossessed Kansas City, and they still lost the game. If you're not beating them when you have that stat line, when are you ever going to beat them? Their defense is always injured come playoff time, and Stephon Diggs ghosts in the most important games. He's not getting any younger. He's going to be 31 next year.
Yeah.
If you get a couple of off seasons where you fix this defense, okay, great. Stephon Diggs is now in his mid-30s, and he's not going to be the elite receiver he once was. He's already falling off. So it's yeah, I understand that Josh Allen's there, but you need a lot more than just a quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And I don't know if Buffalo's going to be that team for the next 3-4 years. I thought this was their chance if they were going to win one, because they had a running game and all their skill players are relatively young, but their defense is always injured. And when it's a one-time thing, okay, yeah, whatever. But it's the past 4 seasons
Their
around
defense
playoff
always
time,
gets
their
hurt.
defense is decimated with injuries. And it's the same guys a lot of the time.
Micah Hot.
Yeah,
Or
Von Miller's taking up a ton of cap space. He did nothing this year.
Von Miller, you think of Jordan Poyer,
Micah
even
Hyde, Trey
Mike-
White.
Trey White. Yeah, exactly. It's the
Like-
same. It's those same guys every year.
Yeah, as long as the Bills have Josh Allen, could they make a divisional round conference championship? Yeah, because the quarterback can elevate that team to a level that they haven't seen. You saw it with Patrick Mahomes last year. But will they win a Super Bowl in the next 3 to 4 years? I don't think so. I can't see them winning a Super Bowl in the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, I don't know if I see him winning a Super Bowl in the next 3 years.
Also,
either, but
losses like this are what I don't know if Josh Allen's going to be the Bills quarterback in 3 years' time.
ooh,
Because losses like this destroy franchises.
that's a bit much.
Well, we'll see. Truthfully, apart from Josh Allen and probably James Cook and Dalton Kincaid, I don't know if anyone's safe on this Bills team. Because if you're like, I'm just trying to picture myself in the Bills front office, okay? You go through the entire game script, like I just said, and you could not beat the team that is the king for this era when you have that stat line, and you significantly outplayed them. If not now, then when? Like that's I can't see it. I can't see it, truthfully. I thought the Bills were gonna, if you had just shown me the stat line of this game and not the final score, I would have said the Bills won by 14. They won by 2 touchdowns. But no, because I don't, you can't even like put a finger on it. This loss was so just baffling to me how they managed to lose this game. So I don't know. If not now, then when? That's my whole point with this.
Yeah, I agree that the loss was baffling, but I don't know if I would go as far to say Josh Allen is not going to be a Bill in 3 years. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
If they clean their entire roster, no Stephon Diggs, no Von Miller, no Tremaine Edmonds, etc., like what do?
Not dump a top 5 quarterback in the NFL?
I mean, it's happened before. It's happened before when teams
Dude's
that,
also still in his 20s.
when teams that haven't had deep
Green Bay
deep
dumped
playoff
Brett
runs,
Favre.
yeah, they dump Brett Favre. The Colts dump Peyton Manning. Like it's not out of the
I think-
question. to say
I think
would
that
happen.
Josh Allen is going to have to take a significant step down for him to not be a Bill in 3 years. Like I would be in utter shock if he is not a Bill in 3 years.
I get where Nick's coming from. Like if you're an organization like the Bills who they've been so close but can never get over that hump, right? And like Nick just said, this was the year to do it. This was the worst the Chiefs have been. The Bills were super hot. And they were playing
Burrow's hurt.
really great football. Yeah, Burrow's out. Like the 2 guys who have beat Josh Allen is Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow. And this was the worst Patrick Mahomes has been in his career. And so
Joe
you have a
Burrow-
guy.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow was a non-factor.
I know. And then Josh Allen, who like Joel said, he's progressed a lot this year. He's gotten a lot better this year than he looked last year. And like Nick said, you can't pinpoint, okay, this play, they lost the game here. This play, they lost the game here. Like they just lost the game. There's no like, oh, like if Josh Allen doesn't throw a stupid pass, like they win the game. Like Josh Allen played a great game. And that's been
That's been the narrative every time they play.
yeah, the narrative
But, like,
in the playoffs.
Like if you're gonna sit here and tell me what you're saying right now, Josh Allen played a fantastic game and they've been this close but just haven't been able to get over the hump. The last thing I'm gonna do is dump Josh Allen.
No, I agree.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
get
think-
him
Not
guys
right
think-
now, but we'll
around
see what
him.
No,
happens.
I
in the
don't
next
think they
couple
should
years.
get, but like where I think Nick's coming from, the desperation in a franchise like that who has never won anything, like
Who are you gonna get better than Josh
like Nick said, if not win, then like if not now,
not now,
then
then
win. So you might have to make that difficult decision, like I wouldn't be surprised if McDermott's gone in a couple years if they keep doing this. 'Cause they're gonna
That
get
I
so
wouldn't be
well.
surprised
McDermott's job
about.
should be questioned right now.
That
Yeah,
I would not be
next
surprised about. No. But Josh, no. Like, who's better? How about, like, my thing is, like, how about we get guys around him other than Diggs and Kincaid? And, I mean, Cook and
Yeah.
guys. Like, let's get guys around him on both sides of the ball. Defensive players that aren't old and are going to be healthy down the stretch.
Yeah, but that
more
takes,
offensive weapons.
That
like
takes
Josh
a lot
Allen
more than
is
just
the
one
last
off
thing. Yeah, but Josh Allen is still the last thing I'm going to get rid of.
Yeah, obviously. But I see where Nick's coming from. I don't
I
agree with him, but I
also-
see his mindset.
Also, like the Bengals should be back next year with Joe Burrow being healthy. The Texans have emerged as AFC contenders with CJ Stroud getting more and more experience. The Jets might be back with Aaron Rodgers. Miami
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Miami, I understand they fall off every year, but I mean, we'll see what happens with them.
They're always competing.
Chargers,
The Chargers just got Jim Harbaugh.
Chiefs.
The Jaguars are right there. The Colts are right there if they can get a couple
Ooh.
guys. Like, I mean, this conference
You
is
and you left
loaded.
out the
really
Ravens there.
I completely forgot about the Ravens, the team that's come from nowhere to ascend as an AFC juggernaut for the foreseeable future, like the next 4 or 5 years, probably. So, like, if not now, then when? That's I can't see it.
No. Yeah, I still think they have a window, but I think it's shrinking every year.
I agree.
Yeah,
But-
I agree with that, but it's still there.
No,
I mean-
yeah, but I think my biggest two things is come playoff time, Josh Allen has to carry for them to even be in any of the games that they're in.
Yeah.
Josh Allen has to put the team on his back for them to be in games. Like Nick said, Stephon Diggs in the playoffs is just not a thing. He's not as good in the playoffs. And then now they finally had a running game, but I mean James Cook didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah.
It was Josh Allen. Josh Allen had 73 rushing yards. Like it was Josh Allen who was making the. I mean, obviously he's the quarterback, but like Josh Allen was single-handedly carrying that offense. And that was the whole thing we had harped on the whole season. The Bills are more balanced this year. They have James Cook. Like they're running the ball now, and that opens the passing and open Josh Allen so much. But then right when they get to the playoffs, it goes back to just give the ball to Josh Allen and let him and see what happens. And like I think there's only so much that obviously Josh Allen can do. So I think that's a part where they have to do something to where Josh Allen's not carrying the team on his back every playoff game. Because you can't beat elite defenses like the Ravens, like the Chiefs, with just one guy. Like Nick said, a quarterback can take you a long way, but once you start going against those great teams that have great defenses, you're going to struggle.
Yep.
And then on the other side, like Joel mentioned, their defense is hurt every single year. Like there hasn't been a year where they've gone in where their defense is fully healthy. Von Miller's been banged up. Micah Hyde's been banged up. Jordan Poyer, Trey White. Those four are they're probably best defensive players, and you can never count on any of them to be on the field come playoff time, which isn't in the Bills' hands, but that's just an unlucky, unfortunate thing that's been happening for them. And so I think I don't know if you like get rid of some guys or what, but I think defense. You have some pieces on defense that I really like, but just some of your great players they're getting, like Joel said, they're not getting any younger. They're getting older, and they already have a lot of injury history. So I think defense needs to be something that they harp on. But I think they need another wide receiver. I think Stephon Diggs, like we all mentioned, elite receiver, great receiver, but in the playoffs he's not elite. He's not elite in the playoffs. Gabe Davis had that one game where he was outstanding in the playoffs. They still lost that one, and Gabe Davis was hurt this playoff run. But I think you need. I like Shakir. I thought he had a really great season. But I think what the Bills need is a type of like jump ball receiver, because we saw on that one where Josh Allen rolled out through like an 80-yard pass to Stephon Diggs,
And it went through his hand.
and it went through his hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you have a guy like, just first guy comes to my mind, like a guy like T. Higgins, who you know is going to high point the ball, big dude, is just going to go and catch those 50-50 balls. Like I think Stephon Diggs is a great receiver, but he's not a 50-50 jump ball type receiver.
He's your possession guy.
Yeah, he's better in possession and after the catch. And so I think they need a guy who Josh Allen can just throw the ball up to, because we all know Josh Allen's arm talent is phenomenal. He can put the ball in any space he wants to. Like that throw, that 80-yard throw he threw, like that was a cannon and it was on the money.
Yeah, it was 65 yards in the air.
Yeah, which is insane, and it was on the money. And so I feel like if you get a guy, like I'm just thinking draft-wise, if you get a guy like a Keon Coleman, who's a big guy, has speed, and has really great ball skills in the air, and is a good 50-50 guy, like I think him, along with Kincaid, who I think has been brilliant this year. I think he was a home run pick for them. I think he's going to really elevate that offense. You run like those guys with hopefully Diggs, who hopefully steps it up, and then we'll see what happens if they resign Davis or not. But I think they just need that guy who Josh Allen can just throw the ball up to and he'll make a play. So I think that Kincaid can do that, but I think that along with Kincaid would really open up that offense. But I think, like Joel said, defense might be more of a priority after watching this game. But I think on offense, I think that's like the final piece that they need. It's just like a 50-50 jump ball guy.
And they've addressed defense in the past. Like, don't get me wrong, they took Kincaid last year, but the year before they took Kyer Elam. But Kyer Elam really has – he's pretty good, but another thing with him is injuries.
Mm-hmm.
He's had the injury history, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're big. Like I said, big thing for me is defense. You got to figure something out. You can't be walking in. You can't be scrapping your way into a playoff game like that, like they have been the past couple of years.
I know injuries happen, but if it happens once, it's unlucky. If it happens twice, it's a coincidence. If it happens 3 or more times, it becomes a trend.
Yep.
And it's well and truly a trend with this Buffalo team.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Which sucks, but not much you can really do.
Yep.
All right. Nick mentioned him briefly, but CJ Stroud, obviously, big storyline of the season, more than likely going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. But the wild card game was phenomenal. And then he went up against the Juggernaut Ravens. So not much you can really do, but I just want to.
It is what it is. He ran into a better team.
Yeah.
Just give you guys thoughts on kind of CJ Stroud's breakout, his emergence this season. Where do you view him currently in the league?
I am terrified for the next.
You should be. You
next
really
10 to
should
15 years. I am a scared man. Because obviously I don't know if you all watched the Colts Texans game, but I'm watching this Colts Texans game and I'm watching it the whole way through. When they met the first time in the year, I was obviously on Red Zone, not on national TV, so all I saw was the highlights. But I'm watching this Colts Texans game, and this guy does not miss a throw. It either gets broken up or it's right on the money. He doesn't have – the thing that impresses me the most about CJ Stroud is his composure. Like, in the pocket. Pressure can be in his face. He'll roll to the right, fire a strike to Nico Collins. You know, he can have guys coming on both sides, no problem. He'll stay in the pocket, deliver a strike to Noah Brown or Tank Dell or whoever. It's just I don't even know what to say. I think he's already a top 10 quarterback in the league, easily. He had arguably the best rookie season a quarterback has ever had. And he has set Houston up to be a perennial potential AFC contender for the next probably decade.
I think I think he is already easily top 10 in the NFL. I think he was top 5 this season.
Yeah, he was definitely top 5 this season.
But I think I'm putting him in the top 10 in the NFL, like, currently. But yeah, I think, like, to talk more so just about that Ravens game, the Texans put up a heck of a fight in the first half. It was 10-10 at the end of the first half. I was rooting for them really hard, but I mean, the Ravens just were the better team, and I think the biggest way that they were the better team was in the trenches on offense and defense. CJ Stroud was hurried just about every time. They could not run the ball at all. They could not run the ball.
Yeah.
And when you're getting dominated like that up front offensively, like, it's going to be really hard to win a game. But then we go on the defensive side, and the Ravens' offensive line just handled them. So the Texans were by far inferior in the trenches on both offense and on defense. And when that's the case, you're just not going to win the game. So I think the Texans defense played pretty well in the first half, despite all odds. But I mean, let's just be real. In the game of football, if you are inferior on the offensive and the defensive line, you're probably not going to win. And the Texans were by far inferior offensively on the line. They could not run the ball. So it was going to be a tough game. But I think CJ Stroud still played a pretty good game, to be honest.
I'm going to piggyback off your points there, Zach. The big thing I'm going to talk about here is the experience. Ravens offensive and defensive line, so much more experience than the Texans do. Texans, especially on the defensive side of the ball, lack experience all across the board. Your best player on that defensive line is Will Anderson, a rookie, for one. And
a really good rookie, but
he's a great rookie.
He's still a rookie.
Exactly. The experience played a big role. And I was talking to somebody that night about that game, and they're like, oh, it's 10-10. They must be playing a pretty good game. And you look at the stats. The offense didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Their only touchdown was a kick or a punt return, right?
Yeah.
It was a punt return.
Their offensive line just got dominated. Like they couldn't move the ball. For the Texans to move the ball, it required CJ Stroud just making a play, like rolling out of the pocket and making a play. That is how they move the ball.
But I'm just going to say this too. The Ravens defensive line is probably the most dominant in the league.
It's up there. It's either them or the 49ers.
As an overall unit, probably.
As an overall unit, I think their front seven is probably the best.
Their front seven is definitely the best in football.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you have Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith,
yeah,
like come on, and then you have Kyle Hamilton in there too. That defense is full
Kyle
of
Hamilton's already a top 5 corner in the league, although he's top 5 secondary player. He plays safety, but I mean he's generational at the safety position.
Exactly.
He's an Ed Reed regen.
Yep.
Like if we're being real.
Yep. But I'm gonna back to your question, Evan. He's easily top 10. There's no doubt about it. I would take him over a hefty amount of quarterbacks in this league. I'd honestly put him almost in my. I would say he's top 7 for me.
I could get behind
also
top 7.
Another thing that made CJ Stroud's season so impressive: the Texans. It wasn't just in the Ravens game. The Texans could not run the football all year.
That's something that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, they were 22nd in the league in rushing. They averaged less than 100 yards a game on the ground. So
you have old man Devin Singletary.
Yeah, that has got to be.
He had a couple. He had a good.
He had a couple good games.
Yeah,
one of them.
Davian Pierce just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, he got hurt at the beginning of the year, and then they put Devin Singletary in, and he played pretty well, so they just kept him in.
Yeah. Evan, what about you?
Yeah, I have Stroud in my top 10. I think he's teetering that. I think I would probably have him in that 7 to 8 range, probably. Yeah. But I think he's phenomenal. Like Nick said, probably the best rookie quarterback that comes to my mind, just off the dome.
Yeah.
But like when you were reading his off, I think he had 97 passing yards in the first half against the Ravens.
Yeah,
he was over 100. He was at 143, and then they held him to 30 in the second half.
Yeah, and you say 143, and I'm like, oh, that's nothing. Like that's just how good he's been. Like has had the first round of the playoffs against the Browns, who everybody thought was gonna beat them. He threw for 350.
In the first half.
In the first half, yeah. So, I'm just, we're accustomed to him just being like that, averaging 200, 300 yards a half, which is insane. And I think Nick might have pointed it out, but obviously, Stroud's biggest calling card was his accuracy. Like he's phenomenal. His accuracy is off the charts. And we've seen that. Like Nick said, I think against the Colts, like he just throws the ball right where it needs to be on a rope. And it's just phenomenal how he is able to do that at such a young age and as a rookie. And I think he's been truly phenomenal. I think he's got the offensive player of the year or offensive rookie of the year, locked up. Well deserved. He's been phenomenal. He's completely changed the course of the Texans franchise for sure. Like Nick alluded to, like they very well could be AFC contenders here in the next couple of years if they keep doing what they're doing every offseason. I've loved their offseason every year. They keep building and they've been hitting on a lot of their picks. And so I think they're definitely in play. To be contenders, and if CJ Stroud can continue to build on what he did this year, I think he's going to be phenomenal, and I'm super excited to watch him continue to grow and watch this Texans team play. And obviously, as an Ohio State fan, it is really awesome to see him have this level of success so early on in his career. And yeah, I just love watching him play. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. He's a great person. Definitely a guy that everyone is rooting for and is an easy guy to root for. So I'm super excited to see how his career plays out. And I thought he was going to be good, but I didn't think he was going to be this good. And he's definitely surpassed my expectations. So,
Yep.
I would agree with everything you said, Evan.
Yep.
All right. We're going to agree with this next question because we're going to talk about another quarterback who has also kind of broken out this year that Zach was high on.
As I said, what happened in June in a car ride in downtown Los Angeles for an hour. I argued this against everyone else.
Jordan Love brought his team to the divisional round, gave the 49ers a run for their money, and the Packers are the youngest team in the league. I think their average age is 21, 22?
It's like 20. I think it was less than 24.
Yeah,
like 23.6 or something, which is crazy.
Let's say it was. I would go as far to say it was more than a run for their money. I think this was one stupid throw away from going to overtime, and then it's anybody.
No,
I mean, it's
absolutely, yeah, that's true.
I think the Packers very well could have won this game. This was a phenomenal game. I think the Packers played a really good game on both sides of the football. And honestly, I think it just came down to Jordan Love finally showing that this is his first year starting in the NFL. But I will also say that throw that he made, while, yes, it was not a smart decision, it was a heck of a throw. I mean, he was rolling out to his right, threw it across his body on a dart, 20, 30 yards down the field.
You want to know the funny thing? You want to know a funny thing?
What?
They put that throw side by side with one from either Brett Favre or
I think it was Brett Favre.
It was Brett Favre. It was
it's the exact same throw, the exact same play.
Yeah, Jordan Love is phenomenal. He is. I said this from the start of things, that he is a very talented quarterback, and I think he has the chance to be very good. But I did not think he would even be as good as he is this fast. I mean, he has a chance to be the next the great Packer quarterback. He played a phenomenal.
Where would you rank him with?
Huh?
Where would you rank him?
Where am I ranking him in the NFL right now?
Yes.
I think I'd probably have to have him in the top 13, maybe 14, maybe.
I would say that. I was going to say that's
probably fair.
I would say top 12.
He's not the top 10 yet, but he's also better than 15. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. He had a heck of a year. If he continues to progress, he will absolutely be in the top 10.
Because wasn't him and Stroud top leaders for touchdown to interception ratio?
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably at some point, but Stroud locked that up.
No, yeah, Stroud destroyed that.
Stroud's better.
Because Jordan Love threw a lot of picks early on. He had a stretch where he threw 6 in 4 games or something. But then he didn't throw one for the remainder of the season. So, Stroud.
The Lions have a great thing going for them, but let's be honest. If you're the Lions or if you're any team in the NFC, I think you're I think
The
we've got another
Packers, the
team.
Packers have reopened your eyes.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
the Packers are back. Like we have like the NFC is no longer the Niners, Eagles, and Lions. Like I mean the Packers are very well, I think, are firmly an NFC contender. And I think Jordan Love's going to continue to get better. And I think this Packers team is going to continue to get better. The Packers, I think, they've got their guy. He's a phenomenal player. And I think they are definitely an NFC contender.
Yeah, I think I'm not going to sit here. Like Weaver said, you said that throw was great. I'm not going to sit here and praise a guy for throwing across his body into triple coverage. When
I
you're
said
down,
it wasn't smart, but
when you're down by 3 in a
talented
playoff
throw.
game, I'm not going to sit here and praise a guy for that. That was the spirit of Brett Favre channeling. And at that moment. But apart from that, he played really well this year. It's kind of similar to how I felt about Trevor Lawrence last year.
Yeah.
Where it's like I don't know if I can quite put him in that like first or second tier of guys, but because he's only really played half a good season, but like he was really good, like really, really good for that half of that season. Got the Packers to a place many people did not think they would be before the season started. He's cemented himself as a quality NFL starter, and he's like, 24 now because he's had a few years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got potential to be the next great Packer, like Weaver alluded to. Hall of Fame level, I don't know, but, we'll see. The Packers can definitely win with Jordan Love, and we should see steady improvement from them over the next couple years because they are so young.
You know what else we can expect from them? Not to take an offensive player in the first round.
Yeah, for sure.
Because more than likely
their defense was bad.
I'm going to say this right now. I think Jair Alexander's out the door.
Yeah,
he almost said it.
Please be an Indianapolis Colt.
Yeah. Didn't they fire their DC?
Yeah,
yes, they did. Good.
Yeah.
Listen,
for Packers fans.
Let me clarify though, because I don't want this to get blown out of proportion. That pass was a bad decision, but it was a talented throw. That is my clarification on that play. I don't want this taken out of context or anything. It was a bad decision.
Throw into triple coverage is really good. Why?
You are still refusing to hear what I'm saying.
Nah, I know what you're saying. I'm not gonna praise the guy for making that decision, even if he is a rookie, because that's the cardinal sin of quarterbacks.
Yeah,
you never throw across your body. It was a bad
decision, but the fact that he is talented enough to do that is what I'm saying. I mean, I can't do that. I don't know about you.
No, we can't do that.
I mean,
Evan, that post just popped up for me about Raheem Morris.
Did you see the Jair Alexander post?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, he's definitely.
That's why I said it.
I think that he should come to a smaller market town that has the colors of orange and black.
Why would he go to the Bengals?
We don't have the money.
They don't have the money, and B, corner's
the Bengals have
need.
one of the most cap money.
Corner is a need.
Corner is a need, and we also have one of the most cap money in the entire NFL still. Didn't we just talk about this, Joel?
I mean, a little bit, but
we have a massive amount of cap space, and corner is not the biggest need, but it's still something that should be probably.
Oh, I agree. Corner is something you have to address because Chidobe's gone.
Exactly. And the Bengals have some of the most money, like they're up there, cap.
I'd have to look at the corners available.
Cap space for this offseason.
They're
as far as I know,
they're top 5.
There. Huh?
I think they're still top.
The Bengals are 6th, right behind Indianapolis.
I was close.
All right, whatever. But either way, they have the money to do it. Now, it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying it would be nice.
Zach would love it.
It would be nice.
Obviously, yeah. Yeah, I think if you're a Packers fan, you have to be super encouraged by this season. Nobody really had expectations for you to really do anything. Everyone was like, "Oh, Jordan Love, like he's a very unproven guy. We don't know much about him." Obviously, we know Aaron Rodgers. How is LaFleur going to coach without Aaron Rodgers? And I think you had to be super encouraged with what you saw. I mean, you've all stressed that Jordan Love was phenomenal this year. He was a lot better than I expected and a lot better than a lot of people expected, I'm sure. And one thing that I think accredits that a lot is LaFleur's coaching. I think he has to take a lot of the you have to give him his flowers. I mean, everyone was concerned, like, you had Aaron Rodgers, Hall of Fame quarterback, like, you just let Aaron Rodgers do Aaron Rodgers. But like when you actually have to like scheme and like call plays and like do things to put your team in a great position to win, because Aaron Rodgers can just carry. And we hadn't seen that from before, and he did that beautifully. And I mean, I think it was, what was the game? I think it was, who did they play in the first round?
Dallas.
It was Dallas. Dallas, they were talking on the broadcast, when Dallas scores first, they're like undefeated or something this year. And so LaFleur made, like, he was like, if you win the toss, we're taking the ball. And he did that, set the tone. They scored immediately. They scored the first drive, and that completely set the tone of the game, because Dallas isn't as good playing from behind, but when they have a lead, they haven't lost it. So like just that I thought was pretty cool. But also, like, this was the youngest team in the NFL, and they went to the divisional round. And like Zach said, we're a couple plays away from beating the juggernaut 49ers and moving on to the NFC Championship. And so I think you have to be super encouraged what you saw from Jordan Love and that whole team. Defense is definitely a huge question mark. They were very shaky at times. But yeah, they got rid of their DC. Jair, we'll see if he stays or not. So they definitely have things that they need to improve on and holes they need to fix. But I think as a Packers fan, you have to be really encouraged where you stand right now. Like Zach said, I think they very well can push for that division title for the next couple of years with Jordan Love. And yeah, I think Jordan Love's like a top 12 guy right now. And I think they're looking pretty good, and they're in a good spot moving forward. All right,
for sure.
Let's talk about the games on this week's docket, the NFC and AFC championships. We'll do our predictions like we always do, but I'll go a little bit more in depth and give some reasons why. We'll start off with Ravens, Chiefs. Who you guys got and why?
I'm going to go pretty simple here. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I think we've alluded to this bits and pieces throughout the pod, saying how, one, dominant their defense is, and two, I mean, Lamar has shown, and their offense has shown that they're capable. Don't get me wrong, Patty Mahomes on the other side of the ball is going to play a big difference in this game, and he'll probably keep it a little bit closer. But I think with the defense that the Ravens have, I don't think that the Chiefs' offense is going to be capable of hanging with, because especially the wide receivers. They have no. Their wide receivers can't hang with it. Don't get me wrong. I think they might be able to run the ball a little bit, but I still don't think it's going to be enough to catapult them to a win. I think this is the year that we see somebody other than Mahomes. So I'm going Ravens.
We saw it 2 years ago.
Yes, you get what I mean. Yes, I know, Zach. You get what I mean.
All right.
Anyone else gonna say anything?
Yeah, I got it. I obviously picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl, and then our playoff prediction. So I'm going to stick with Baltimore in this game. But I will say that I think a major X factor in this game is the Ravens front seven versus the Chiefs offensive line, because we were talking about it with the Texans game, and the Ravens are just much superior in the trenches than Houston was. Kansas City can match up a lot better than Houston can. And I like Patrick Queen, Roquan Smith, Jadeveon Clowney. Is Calais Campbell still in there or no?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Calais Campbell.
No, is he?
They're going to have big games because Patrick Mahomes is notoriously not able to be sacked. Like, he is probably the least sack-prone quarterback in NFL history. He does not take sacks at a historic rate. But I think that he's not on the team anymore. Right,
No, he plays for the Falcons.
That was a casual take.
That's right. That's right.
That's my bad.
Totally
But
forgot
still,
about that.
point still stands.
You got Odafe.
Yeah, Odafe Owe. That's what I was thinking of. But like another thing with the Chiefs, the Chiefs' offense has looked great in the playoffs. They've also played two really banged up defenses. And now they're playing arguably the best defense in football. So on the road in an incredibly hostile environment, Baltimore hasn't hosted an AFC title game since I think it was 1971 when the Colts were still in town.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be bumping. I think that Baltimore will. They play kind of like a boa constrictor, where it's like it's not super flashy, but the win is kind of inevitable once they get you in their grasp. So I think Baltimore will win a slow, methodical game and advance to Super Bowl 58. Is it 58?
Yep.
Or 57?
Yep. 58.
8? Okay.
You know, can I before you guys talk, the guy that I feel like once he gets out of Baltimore, if he gets out of Baltimore, is going to be insane is Isaiah Likely. Dude's going to be a freak.
I don't know why they drafted him.
I don't either. He's a
Well,
freak.
they drafted him and Kohler the same year.
Yeah, they did do that.
To play. Well, is Mark Andrews playing? He is, right?
I think he's going to be activated.
Yeah, even if he is, though, do you play him over Likely right now?
Dude, Likely's on.
I don't know if
right
you
now.
do. Yeah.
I don't know. Tough call. But yeah, I think Likely's super talented. I really like him a lot. But yeah, I hope he kind of gets off Baltimore so we can flourish.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the Ravens. Like Nick, I had them in the playoff prediction, so I'm not going to stray from that now. They've looked like the best team in the NFL this whole season, pretty much. Yes, Patrick Mahomes is amazing. They have been playing – the Chiefs have been playing how they were playing at this time last year. But this is, like Nick said, they're away. It's the second time in Patrick Mahomes' career it's going to be an away playoff game. But the Ravens fans are going to be ready for it. And I think, like, basically, just kind of piggyback off everything Nick said because he covered a lot of it really well. There's not a hole in this Ravens team. The running game is insane. The wide receiver room's pretty solid. The offensive line's really great. The defense is outstanding. You have the MVP at quarterback. I mean, I can't really pinpoint a thing that, if Kansas City does this, they're going to get the edge. Like, I can't pinpoint anything. So,
the crazy thing with the run game is they're on their third string running back too.
I know. Is it still Gus Edwards?
Yeah. Gus Edwards / Justice Hill.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I think they're just too good of a team right now. And like we mentioned, this isn't the best Chiefs team we've seen. I also think because their guard, Joe Thuney, he more than likely isn't going to play. He just missed a second straight practice, so that hurts them. And then Pacheco also missed a second straight practice, but he's more than likely going to play. But yeah, I think Baltimore's going to make Patrick Mahomes win this game, and I think he's going to make them put the ball in the receiver's hands. And we've seen the receivers are not capable of doing that this year. So I think the biggest thing that hurt the Bills was they let Travis Kelce get open way too often, and I think with Patrick Quinn and Roquan Smith, they match up a lot better with Travis Kelce than the Bills did. So I'm going to have Baltimore. But I think, like Nick said, the Chiefs are going to keep it close. It's going to be a phenomenal game. But I think Baltimore's going to pull it out here and move on to the Super Bowl.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to be different now because everybody picked the Ravens. So I'm picking the Chiefs here. Patrick Mahomes, that's about all I got I think the Chiefs have, as soon as we've got to the playoffs, the Chiefs have started to look like the Chiefs that we all know. I think their receivers have actually played a little bit better. Rashee Rice is proving to actually be a solid receiver. And Travis Kelce's got back to his normal self with his performance last week. I think the Chiefs. Yes, I think the Chiefs are really hot right now. They're starting to play a lot better. This is the best defense that we've seen them have. I think that their defense is going to be able to match up solidly well with Baltimore's offense. It's going to come down to whether the Chiefs' offense can get things going and overcome the Ravens' defense. And on that side of the football is the best football player in the world. So I'm going to take Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs here. Also, to be different, I'm going to continue to be wrong this season, and I'm going to take the Chiefs. And I'm going to suffer and watch the worst football season of all time and the nightmare scenario continue.
Yeah, FYI, if it was up to me, both of these teams would lose, but that obviously can't happen.
I would love for both teams to just lose and not be in this game. But I'm going to take, in my opinion, the lesser of two evils. But I'm going to be wrong, and I'm going to suffer even more.
Jeez, this is so bad, dude.
I'm going to be different, and I'm going to be wrong again.
Every time I hear him talk about this football season, I just laugh.
Weaver, when his favorite teams aren't A1 contenders for a season.
I'm going to be different, and I'm going to be wrong again.
I've enjoyed this season.
This season's been different.
It's been different.
I'm not gonna say
Nick, what are you trashing on me for? You literally also think this has not been a great year.
It hasn't been like peak football, but it's been different. It's been a nice refresher. It's been the year of the backup quarterback.
It's been a year that I would have rather not seen.
That's crazy. No chance of my missing out on football.
Well, no, that's not what I meant either. I meant I wish this year would not have happened like this.
Move on to the NFC title game.
What?
All right.
Continue.
NFC title game. The Lions versus the 49ers.
Gosh. Dude, I want
Okay, well, I'm going to go first this time.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep it pretty short. I think that this is where the Lions' run ends. The 49ers are, in my opinion, the best team in football right now, from top to bottom. So I mean, the Lions are they're playing great football right now, and I think this is going to be a really good game, but I just think that the 49ers are just they're just that good, I think. I mean, the Lions are good too, but I just think that the Niners, I think this is where the Lions meet their match for this season. It's going to be a close game, though. It's going to be a really good game. And Jared Goff is also completely defeated against the 49ers. He's never beat the 49ers. So there's that, too.
He is like 0 for 6, I think, or something.
Yeah, there is that, too.
As much as I would love to go with the Lions, it's just not going to happen because, damn, where's my jersey?
He's looking for his McCaffrey jersey.
I am. I'm going with the Niners. I got to. I think it's going to be the two best teams in football, and it's the Ravens versus the 49ers. Two best teams in football. What more could you ask for in a season?
Nick.
All right. The 49ers were my preseason pick to win the Super Bowl. I was saying this back in like June, that the 49ers this is going to be their year. So I'm sticking with San Francisco.
As long as Brock Purdy's
I've got a question because Evan, I'm assuming you're going to pick the 49ers too.
Yeah.
All right. Do any of us what do the Lions have to do to win this game?
You have to.
Deebo Samuel doesn't play.
That's one. That's one thing. Two, you got to figure out some way to.
They have to dominate time possession.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say.
You have to take the ball because.
Keep McCaffrey.
Isn't it the 49ers are the best team in explosive plays?
Yeah.
They have the most explosive plays in the NFL. this
They
season.
have to keep Christian McCaffrey off the field as long as they possibly can.
Yeah. They need to keep that Niners offense.
But that's the thing though, with this game that intrigues me. Christian McCaffrey's been the best running back in the league this year. But Detroit's defensive line has been one of the best against the
at
run.
stopping the run.
Yeah.
And then you get to their secondary, and it's like, okay, how are they going to match up with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk and company?
Exactly.
Against,
and even Jawan Jennings.
yeah, against a head coach that is notoriously famous for getting receivers open.
Yeah.
In Kyle Shanahan.
Well, and it's just they're able. If
Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Well, if you think about it, if Deebo plays, that just adds a whole nother element to their offense because Deebo goes into the backfield, Christian McCaffrey's out wide.
I honestly, I love watching
how do you
the 49ers. I love watching this 49ers. Kyle Shanahan is an absolute genius, and this team is loaded from top to bottom. I love watching this team. It's going to be a really good game, though.
If not, I think the 49ers overcome their NFC Championship woes. I think that's been a great story for Detroit, and I would love to see a Ravens-Lions Super Bowl. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think the 49ers are a significantly better team, and they're playing at home. I think they shaked a bunch of the rust off against Green Bay. They were lucky to win that game, but
they were.
Sometimes I think they shook a bunch of the rust off. I think they'll come through.
Sometimes it's not about how pretty it is.
It just matters that you win.
Yep.
Yeah. The Lions, their key to success is pray that Deebo doesn't play. And sadly for them, Deebo practiced today, so he's probably going to play.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, can't take anything away from the Lions season. They've been tremendous this year, better than anybody thought they were going to be. But the 49ers are just a juggernaut. They're a team built to win a Super Bowl right now. Like you all mentioned, their weapons on offense are up there with the best, and their defense is also up there with the best. So, and when you have a coach like Kyle Shanahan, sky's the limit. So I think it'll be a good game, but I think the 49ers will start to run away with it towards the latter half of the game. But yeah, I'm going to go with Niners in San Francisco. It's going to be tough for the Lions, but the Lions had a great season. They're going to be a good team for a while, but the Niners are how the Rams were in 2021, just a team that is just a juggernaut. So, and yeah, like Joel said, it would be the best two teams in football going up against each other. The color theory will be correct for 3 straight years. So I guess we can just say that the NFL is scripted.
Yep.
But we also all just picked the Niners, so congratulations, Detroit.
Hey,
I'd be okay with it.
I would be so fine with that.
I'd be okay with it. Truthfully.
But honestly,
a Detroit Lions Super Bowl would be
insane.
Here's the thing, right? This year, the Super Bowl's in Vegas. I think the NFL's trying to do not trying to do, but I think the NFL wants everything in their power to have 2 marquee teams in the Super Bowl, 2 bigger markets.
Yeah.
Next year, the Super Bowl is in New Orleans. I think we could have some wacky teams in New Orleans next year.
Bengals versus the Packers.
Yeah, I think next year could be wacky, but we'll get to that at a later date.
Burrow's coming home.
Burrow's coming home.
Well, second home, I guess.
Yeah, now I get you.
But yeah, it should be fun.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say something, but I forget. So, yeah, anything else to add? Or pretty much covered.
I go back to our coaching. The Panthers signed him to a 6-year deal. So
a long time to commit to a guy.
I think Harbaugh had 5.
Yeah, Harbaugh signed a 5-year deal.
Yeah, Harbaugh had 5. Yeah.
So that's the only thing I have to add.
All right. Well,
and Christian McCaffrey should be MVP.
Yeah, they did come out with the the final.
The finalists, the 5 finalists. I did see that.
He'll win Offensive Player of the Year.
Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott are your 5.
Yeah, those are your 5 MVP candidates.
Christian McCaffrey should be the MVP, but we don't
He'll win
know.
Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he'll win Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And then Stroud to win Rookie of the Year.
Mhm.
Although
He's the
shout
Rookie of the
out to
Year.
Puka Nakua.
Yeah,
Like,
Puka
it is a
very well.
shame
could've-
that
I
Puka
know.
will probably not win Offensive Rookie of the Year because he
I know.
was just C.J. Stroud, but at receiver.
So are we
Yeah.
getting again 2 years in a row of the same team sweeping Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year?
Potentially.
Very well could happen. Yeah, very well could happen. Which would be crazy.
And then Coach of the Year is Kevin Stefanski.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
I
It'll be either
Throw a Dan Campbell in
Stefanski.
there.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
going to
it'll
say
be either Stefanski, Campbell, or D'Amico Ryans.
Well,
That'd be
actually,
wild.
I think it's gonna probably go to Dan Campbell, but I think Kevin Stefanski absolutely deserve. All 3 of those guys really seriously.
They all deserve it.
Yeah. So it'll be.
But it's probably gonna go to Dan Campbell.
Mhm. So next podcast we're talking about the Pro Bowl.
No.
Oh God,
Why?
I was joking.
we'll talk about.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
That'll
about
probably
that.
be maybe a mock.
You know, I'm always
A
down for
mock
good
draft for
mock
the
draft.
next
A mock?
podcast?
A mock?
You know, I mean, we'll basically know what the order is completely.
Well, yeah, but the
Just minus,
season's
like,
not even over yet.
But we'll have
Who cares?
basically everything.
Mel Kiper just put his mock 1.0 out a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I guess.
We're in draft season
Oh, I'm all
because
set,
the
baby.
Bengals aren't in the. I know.
We're in draft season.
So I'm in draft season,
I'm all set for draft season.
but I'm down to do that for sure. You know, I always like good mock draft.
Sweet.
But yeah, that'll wrap it up for this episode. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe and let us know down below who you think's going to go to the Super Bowl. Who would you want to go to the Super Bowl? And yeah, see you guys next one. Peace.